right, thanks for joining me on another episode of Why Not Go, the channel dedicated to rock and roll, especially punk, and especially the Sex Pistols. I want to do a short video today because I think it's an historic day, December 9th, 1975, exactly 50 years ago today, and it was a Tuesday back in 1975. Today is when the Bromley Contingent started. I did a video on called Whatever Happened to the Bromley Contingent, and I'll put a link. If you haven't seen that video, I'll put a link to it in the description. And in that video, I talked about all the different members of the Bromley Contingent, and I also talk about Jordan and Helen Wellington Lloyd. The Sex Pistols had such an interesting group of people around them, their fans especially. And in that video, I referenced this photo, and I'm so glad I kept it. It was given to me by Sophie Richmond, Malcolm McLaren's assistant secretary, and when I went to his office in August of 1977, she gave me a lot of press material just for me to keep. And I love on the back it says Sex Pistols fans. So I don't know if that was written by, I don't know if that's Malcolm's writing or her writing. So anyway, I love this photo, and I just think the Bromley Contingent were such a interesting group of fans. And unfortunately, we lost another member of the Bromley Contingent just recently, Sue Catwoman. I did a short video on Sue Catwoman's passing, and I'll show a few pictures here. She had a son and a daughter, Shem and Dion, and on Shem Lucas's Facebook page, her real name was Susan Lucas. He posted a nice memoriam to her, and he also has a GoFundMe page. I don't know if it's still open for her to pay for her funeral expenses. She died on September 30th, 2025, and she was 70 years old. And I'll show a few pictures here that were on his Facebook page, and there's photos of him with her. And she was a very attractive woman, and also with Dion, her daughter. And apparently it was a very sudden illness, and I'm not sure what kind of illness it was, but he said it was very, very sudden, and she went into a coma, and that was it. She passed away on September 30th. So that's sad. We've lost another person from the Sex Pistols' early days. And in this video, I just, as I said, I just wanted to do a short video on the very beginning of the Bromley Contingent, which happened today. Today, December 9th, the Sex Pistols played Ravensbourne College of Art in Chislehurst. And many of their first gigs were at art colleges. And as I said, I think in my video on their first show, November 6th, when I interviewed Danny Kleinman, I said that Malcolm didn't want to kind of follow the sort of pub rock circuit. They did play some pubs, but he really liked them to play kind of different kinds of places. And they played 7 shows in 1975. I mean, they were just starting. And their 6th show was December 9th at Ravensbourne College. They opened for a band called Fog, spelled Fogg. And at that show, Simone Thomas and Simon Barker went to the show, and they only showed up for the very last song, which was No Fun. I'll show a picture here where this is Malcolm McLaren's letter of confirming the date. And as I said, he really did like playing art colleges, so he really made an effort to book them. And so he's writing to Tracy Cooklin and at the Ravensbourne College. He says, "Dear Tracy, this is a short note to confirm that the Sex Pistols will appear at your college on the 9th of December and play at 9 p.m. for 1 hour maximum. They will arrive at 4 p.m. and endeavor to sort out any problems about playing time and equipment with the other band Fog. We do have our own PA, etc." It's kind of interesting. I don't think at their first gig at St. Martin's College they had their own PA. They didn't. They had to borrow Bazooka Joe's PA. But anyway, he says, "We do have our own PA, etc. and everything should run smoothly." I love this part of the letter because originally he had written perfect. Maybe he thought that was being too optimistic, and he changed it to "and everything should run smoothly. Free beer for the band would be welcome. Looking forward to seeing you. Then remaining yours faithfully, Malcolm McLaren." A very polite letter to the person that was probably in charge of live entertainment at Ravensbourne College of Art. So yes, they played at 9 p.m. and they, at that point in their career, they really didn't have a following. The people that would go to the shows were just people that, were friends of Malcolm. Jordan, of course, was there because she worked at Sex. I don't have any pictures from this date, but I do have a picture that was taken from an earlier day, their fifth day. This was at the Chelsea School of Art on December 5th. So this would have been exactly how they looked around this time in December of 1975. And at that show at the Chelsea School of Art, I know that the guitar player in the Slits, whose book I have, Viv Albertine, I love that book. She went there with Rory Johnston, who was someone I knew in LA. He was their American rep. They were at that Chelsea art show. So I love this photo. It was taken by Mick Rock, which I find interesting because Mick Rock was a very famous photographer at the time. I mean, he did lots of photos of Bowie and Lou Reed and Iggy. I believe the cover of Transformer was Mick Rock's photo. And he was at the Sex Pistols show on December 5th. So anyway, I don't have any photos of December 9th. So this was their set list, and you can see, I won't go over every song, but you can see that they already have quite a few original songs. They played 11 songs this night. And they played, the originals are Did You Know Wrong, 17, New York, and Submission. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4 originals with No Fun. I'm sorry, they did Pretty Vacant. So they did 5 originals and No Fun as the encore. And as they were playing their last song, No Fun, who walked in were these two young people, Simon Barker and Simone Thomas. And they must have been blown away because they started following the band soon thereafter. And this is when the Bromley Contingent started. Simon Barker and Simone were big Bowie and Roxy Music fans. I could always tell from Simon Barker's hair that he was a big Bowie fan, and then later he missed the Sex Pistols, but on that same evening, Stephen Bailey came up, and who was Stephen Bailey? He eventually became Steve Severin. So Steve Severin right here. And Simone Thomas is not in this photo, but Steve Severin is here, obviously. Went on to form Susie and the Banshees, and Simon Barker is right here on that side. So, so those three young people, they started talking to the band at the bar afterwards, and they also talked to Vivian and Malcolm. So I think I don't know. I know maybe some people think, oh, it's not really important, but I think it's you know, it's an important milestone in Sex Pistols history that this is really when they started getting a following, and a very enthusiastic following. They weren't all from Bromley. In fact, Sue Catwoman, I know, wasn't from Bromley, and I don't think Debbie Juvenile was either. I think she was from Burnt Oak. I'll show a picture here of Carolyn Coon. When the Sex Pistols played in Paris in 1976, Carolyn Coon was there, and she decided to write an article, not just on the band, but on their fans, because she thought their fans were so interesting, and because a lot of them were from the Bromley area, like Steve Severin and Simon Barker and Susie. She decided to call them the Bromley Contingent. So she's the one that gave them that name. And then from there, it just, you know, I'm sure it just got bigger and bigger, their following. I'm sure Steve Severin told Susie right away. Susan Bailey, she was known, Susan Ballion, rather, she was known as at that time. And it just grew from there. That later, you know, obviously came Tracy O'Keefe and Debbie Juvenile. I'll show a picture here of one of the early shots of the Bromley Contingent, and I love this photo because it shows the first the core of the Bromley Contingent are right there in the front. You see Simone Thomas and Steve Severin, and then Susie's in the middle, and then Simon Barker is to the right, and I think above is Tracy O'Keefe and Debbie Juvenile. But the first Bromley Contingent and the first fans of the Sex Pistols were really those original three: Simon Barker, Steve Severin, and Simone Thomas. And the other thing I think is really neat, I guess, is that when they were interviewed by Bill Grundy, and I believe that was December 1st, 1976, and I'll show a picture here of the fans in the background. I think it's really neat that they had their original fans behind them. Simon Barker on the left, and then I believe it's Severin, and then Simone, and then Susie. So those were the original three, or four, because I'm sure Susie she wasn't at this show, December 9th, but because she was good friends with, you know, Steve Severin, she probably went to the very next show, which would have been the next day at London Polytechnic. They played December 10th. So I think it's neat that when they were interviewed by Bill Grundy, that the Sex Pistols brought their very first fans they had behind them for that interview. And then, of course, everything blew up after that, and it was all over the papers, and they were quite famous, or notorious, however way you want to put it, after that interview. But I always thought it was neat that they had those original fans behind them when they made that infamous TV appearance with Bill Grundy. So so that's all I wanted to say about today. 50 years ago today at 9 p.m. London time, they played at the Ravensbourne College of Art, and some very hip or interesting young people, Simone and Simon and Steve, were there, and their lives were never the same after that, and they followed the band for a long time, and then went on to do their own their own creative projects, which I talk about in my full Bromley Contingent video. So yeah, so I think that's I don't know, I think that's neat from those three original fans. I don't know how many fans there are of the Sex Pistols in the world. I'm gonna think that the number is in the millions. So from these three became a revolution around the world, and with many more Sex Pistols fans to come after that. So well, thanks as always for tuning in. Until the next time, I'll be seeing you.